Welcome to In My Trauma Podcast, episode 5.
How we doing?
We're doing well. We're in it. We're rolling.
We're rolling.
I think we should start with what's probably on everyone's mind, what's on my mind, on your mind. Why the hell did NASA send those astronauts up there on that Boeing rocket? You know, I sent you those 2 astronauts are now stranded at the International Space Station, and they have 9 days to get them down because there's another mission that's supposed to arrive, and they only have but so many ports to be docking these crafts in. And I don't know if you watched the video when I sent it to you. The woman, I think it's like a South Asian woman, a white guy. The woman appears to be holding it together. The man does not. He handed the mic away when basically they started asking them about their mental health. He was like, "You take this one." He was wringing his hands. He looked like he was about to start crying when they mentioned basically that there's no end in sight. They were just like, "We're trying our best to get them down as soon as possible." But thoughts on the matter?
Well, I didn't expect that to be how we started today. My thoughts on, I have a lot of thoughts on that.
Yeah,
you
go
know,
ahead.
what NASA became privatized how long ago? That was within the last decade, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what they're testing is like commercial flights up there.
Yeah, my take is NASA should stick to brand partnerships with clothing deals.
You like that Haran Preston
Just slap
lane?
that NASA logo on anything and sell it. But I don't think they really need to be exploring space anymore in such a fashion, right? We have those giant microscopes. They're able to tell all these things that are super far away, how many galaxies we have, how expansive they are. They confirm that there's life out there. If we're not going out there to try to find the other life,
Yeah. What are we doing?
we don't need to be sending people into space.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my take.
So you say hard pivot to streetwear or
Yeah.
just fashion
I
generally?
mean, they soft launched it a little while ago, and it was hot. It was hot.
It's popping. Just make some trucker hats.
They watered their brand down a little too much. They went they became a little bit too Etsy and didn't stay high fashion enough. But they had a good 6 to 8 month run.
I keep saying, remember why you were invited to the section.
That's what I'm saying. They were, yeah. I mean, no one believes that they went to the moon in the first place.
So that's the thing. A lot of those comments saw the fear and anxiety on that man's face and said, "I still don't think they're up there for real."
Exactly.
There were a lot of comments.
He's a paid actor. They're saying he's a paid actor. He's working for an Emmy nod.
For my part, I saw real fear in his eyes, but that's just me. And so the other thing is that it seems like SpaceX could very easily send up a craft and bring them down, but they don't want to take it on the chin and admit that, like, and I don't understand because it's very clear now. Boeing definitely makes products that kill people or that,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and they put hits out on people. Like, they're not, I don't know what they're trying to save face about. Like, we know who you are. I don't know.
It takes a special type of person to want to go into space in the first place, in my opinion.
So I was gonna ask, would you?
Of course, come on now.
No, that's a resounding no.
I can't remember who I was talking to about this the other day, but I don't ever want to achieve the level of success where I start thinking, how could I kill myself today? I don't ever want to be that successful. I'd like to be
because there were
B to C tier successful. Because I think once you become A tier successful, right? Icarus is a story for a reason. You're not supposed to go that high.
That's becoming a theme. I feel like flying too close to the sun has like come up a lot. You say rather than flying too close to the sun, you just
launch yourself into the abyss.
It's better to find joy in pushing your rock up
That's
the
what
hill.
I'm saying. Like just
find your little moments pushing your rock.
It's not that deep. You don't need to go into space.
Yeah.
What has going it? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is some sort of technology that came about from us going into space that has advanced human life.
Yeah.
If there is, maybe I'm wrong. But I don't think that there's anything that crazy that's been developed in the last 70 years that happened because we went to space.
Yeah. We got sliced bread without it. We got flushable toilets without the space travel.
I saw something recently that not to divert too much, but I saw something about how flushing toilets were actually a thing a lot more prevalently in societies that like European explorers kind of covered up.
Mm.
So there's a lot of old texts of from certain regions where it details like first trips to certain parts of Africa or certain parts of the world, and they were like every home has a toilet,
Oh wow.
as opposed to everyone just sharing like a communal pot that you poop in.
And they were flushing them, or there was
It was
like
irrigated.
oh, it was irrigated.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. What would have happened?
You know, so to that point, see, that's what happens when you let certain people
Another theme of ours.
dictate the direction.
When a certain person, I don't want to say what kind of person, but when a certain kind of person
is dictating a little too much in society, right? We stop worrying about how do we make sure we don't all die of plague because we have to inhale poop fumes. People start worrying about how many people can we get to space at once, which I don't think we really need.
Yeah, I would agree. We don't need it. There were also a lot of comments, I think, rightly making the comparison between that and the people who were stuck in the submarine trying to find those Titanic ruins. I think there's a similarity there.
Would you rather be stuck in space or underwater?
In space. I think it's a more dignified way to go. From what I understand, those people like kind of exploded.
I think that's what happens in either situation.
Yeah,
the pressure.
I don't. But they were also kind of like they were like crisscross applesauce. There wasn't a lot of space down there. It was just like, at least I can stand on my own too, as I explode in space.
If I was meant to be
and
in
become
space,
part of the
I wouldn't
cosmos.
need oxygen. If I was meant to be underwater, I would have gills. So I'm chilling.
I mean, you gave me an A B choice and then tried to flex on me.
That's not flex. I'm just saying.
I'm kidding. It wasn't a flex. Yeah, but yeah, no, I think I go to space. Also, you get a perspective. I mean, the deep sea is cool. It's very dark though. I do think the cool thing, like, if I were on my last day, I do kind of feel like it would be cool just to go up one time to see
Look
Earth.
down at the Earth.
Yeah, Earth from that perspective to get
hit the eject button and go off into the
right, like just become part of the cosmos. Like, I'm a star, bitch.
I'm a supernova.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out like a star. Yeah, if it's one way or the other, I'm probably going. I say to the moon.
Yeah, no. I think I'd like to go just in my house.
Yeah. There's some movie that I rewatched recently where there's a quote at the beginning, and the man says, "When I go, I'd like to die peacefully in my sleep like my father, not screaming in agony like his passengers." And it's,
what movie that was?
I can like look back at what movies I've watched recently, and I will tell you all, like I tell Hakeem. But yeah, that's about it. No, you know, the point is to live a good life while you're in it, so that at the end it can just be, you know, no hoopla, just fun, or peaceful rather.
Do we know what the two astronauts who are stranded up there were up there doing? Like, what was their mission?
I don't think they had a mission. I think it was
just
more to do with testing out the, you know, the material. Because they were like, when they give reports on what they're doing at the International Space Station, they're basically like, yeah, they're doing their chores.
I'm laughing, but I hope they make it home safely.
Yeah.
But that's just ridiculous. Why are you up there in the first place?
Because I was like, the other thing about, I wouldn't compare them to the billionaires minus that guy's son, because the billionaires made an I mean, in my opinion, like you said, it's just like you have too much money, and there are so many flying things in Hakeem's yard right now. It's like blowing my mind.
a lot of wildlife out here.
Yeah, but the people going into deep sea, just to me, yeah, seems like a version of how do I die, or what creative way can I die? Because like no one, like people have seen and explored the Titanic ruins. That's not really up to you. But I could see an astronaut feeling that they've done a civic duty or some kind of, you know, that's their job.
Right.
So it's not, it's kind of apples and oranges to me on that front. But Yeah, I don't have any interest in being an astronaut, but maybe especially after this story. Like if I did before, not anymore.
Yeah, I think if we reach a point in human evolution where we have to go find another planet, I think I'm just gonna ride it out with the Earth.
Did you watch Don't Look Up, the Adam McKay movie on Netflix with like every famous person?
I watched it once and I haven't gone back and watched it again, so I'm not
It's
the
it,
most up to date on it.
I think it's like funny and entertaining.
Yeah.
But that because the world is ending by meteor,
Mm.
and the like rich people get a spacecraft to take them to a different planet. They like find it, and that's how it ends, like
Mm.
the post credit scene. But the other funny thing was in the comments, people talking about, if I'm stuck up there and NASA's talking about they don't know when they're gonna get me down, it becomes a question of, okay, whatever country can get me down, you can have whatever secrets you know, you wanna know. Do you agree with that?
I mean, at that point, if you're alive, you're probably gonna tell whoever saved you. So I
Yeah.
can't hate on that answer. I'm also not the most patriotic, so if somebody gets you down, you probably just are gonna be allegiant to whoever kept you alive.
I don't know if this was part of the prisoner swap or what, but I saw a video of these two deep undercover Russian spies arriving back in Russia, a wife and husband, but they had two children who had no idea that they were Russian. They were just living in Colombia.
Mm.
So these two like European kids get off the plane looking so confused, and Vladimir Putin's at the bottom of the stairs like kissing and hugging their parents. And I just have to imagine the like mental toll of thinking you were whatever they thought, because also also for you to not know you're Russian, their parents could not have been speaking Russian in their house. Like,
Is that just the life of everybody in Argentina?
but imagine like your brain, like I don't think my brain would just. That's like some Truman Show type stuff.
Or just some post World War II South America stuff?
Here's where we find out Truman Show is just based on you fill in the rest. Yeah.
Mm. That's insane.
Yeah. Not cool. Not a cool thing to do to your kids.
No.
But I guess if you choose to be a spy, you're kind of different.
Yeah. Yeah. How does I wonder if there's a registry out there of children of spies, or just a group like a support group. Somebody maybe writing a book. That has to be an interesting story to tell.
Seems stressful. I'm more of a, what is it? Quiet luxury, soft life. That's more my speed.
Quiet luxury.
Quiet luxury and soft life.
I'm not a fan of the soft life movement. I feel like I've met quite a few people who use that as an excuse to just say I'm a bum covertly. Just covertly be like,
You
I'm not
don't-
really trying to contribute anything here.
You don't like a montage of somebody making a latte in the morning,
No.
and then
I'm in my soft era. I don't want to hear that really. You can enjoy your life, but don't expect me to inconvenience myself so you can have a soft life.
who is asking you to
You'd be
inconvenience?
surprised. You would be surprised.
Oh jeez. Oh geez, this is like when you were like, oh, you've never dated anyone who was like really into Chris Brown or Drake, and I was like, no, I don't meet women like that. We just encounter very different women.
It's fair.
Yeah, different strokes.
Yeah.
Have you been keeping track of the medal counter for the Olympics?
No, but I did see this thing that says it was showing how all the U.S. broadcasts show the U.S. as first in the medal count because we have the most total medals,
Yeah.
but every international broadcast shows the U.S. based on
Gold.
golds.
Yeah.
But, hey, it's just massaging the data.
Ah! I was thinking about how you maybe said to me like a couple years ago, because I was like, why are like black people in the US like so good at sprinting? And you were like, it's almost like we were bred for for workability and like genetic superiority. um and do you have that I feel like
I
People
mean, I feel
should.
like that's just it's one of those things you don't really have to dig deep into.
No, I know, but I don't think a lot of people like not. A lot
Yeah,
of
I mean,
people
it's
would be
like
surprised to have
that's
that
why they're trying to keep.
conversation.
That's why they're trying to keep CRT out of the schools. They don't want anybody watching the Olympics every 4 years going, you know what, this isn't right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is. I thought it was pretty obvious that that's why.
No, I mean after you say
It's
it,
us in Jamaica. Like,
yeah.
like, well, why are these people so fast? Why are they so big?
Yeah. No, it's for real. And then so I don't so because you haven't been necessarily following so closely, so like all the top Jamaican women runners weren't allowed to like didn't compete. Did you see that?
I saw it happen with Sharika, but I didn't know it happened.
Sharika pulled out of the 200. Shelly Ann Fraser Price did not compete in the 100 semis.
Was it because she tried to go through the wrong entrance or something?
So they changed the rule overnight for how to get into the practice or like, warm up track.
Yeah.
And basically we're telling her she would have to walk like an extra hour essentially to get into the warm up track. But then I saw something, I need to confirm it, but I saw something that said they did a similar thing to Sha'Carri because they weren't staying in the Olympic Village. They like changed this rule overnight that if you weren't staying in the Olympic Village, like something.
There's been a lot of shady stuff going on with this Olympics. I mean, they had all those triathletes swimming in the, I don't know how to pronounce the name of the river,
Seine?
the Seine,
Yeah.
the Seine River that tested very high for E. coli.
Also, I saw a literal video of a pool of shite, just like beneath the divers, and they were like, "Well, we got to do it." Which at that point, I think you have to stand up a little bit and unite on some real Olympic spirits level stuff, and be like, "Hey, we're not gonna dive into a pool of waste. That's gross."
Look, that gold medal might be more important than
No.
sepsis. Sepsis might not be that important.
I mean, well, did you see? So I think Chinese athletes get like
A lot of money.
a lot of money. So
Yeah.
I guess too, if you're, if you feel very strongly about that and you're from a country that will reward you. But yeah, France is kind of crashing out with this one. Also
France
there's
has always kind of been crashing out as a country.
right,
A
right.
long history of the crash out.
But so they have a gymnast, and I'm forgetting her name, but they made it very difficult for her after she decided she was kind of done dealing with them and wanted to compete for Algeria.
Mhm.
And how about she won gold in like her event for gymnastics?
Wow.
And France, women at least, did not win any medals in gymnastics. So they were salty about that.
Did you see the discourse around the Algerian boxer?
Oh, that was so cuckoo bananas.
It was truly ridiculous.
But also, somebody was just talking about the absurdity of getting hit so hard you wake up
Not even wake up. She just hit her with one right cross and she said, "This is unjust."
to start crying.
This is unjust.
And said, that can't be a woman. It's so ridiculous.
And then to have so many people on the internet just be like, "This is what the Democrats want." Like, how stupid are people? You have to be so fucking dumb to think that makes sense.
Oh my god. To get to the highest stage of competition.
First of all, it's Algeria. This was the point that, like, there are a lot of things that are not legal in Algeria.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to even, you have to be so small-minded to take your views on trans people and be like, "This is wrong." Like, you're an idiot.
Yeah, but oh god, I'm glad she got hit so hard because she deserves it. I mean,
they should have made
obviously
her finish the fight.
Yeah, yeah. For real.
Like, I didn't see you throw the towel in.
Ridiculous behavior. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Have you considered getting really good at some niche Olympic sport between now and 2028 and competing, like sharpshooting?
No. I think I'm a little too late in life to just pick up a random skill
There
and
was
get
a
to that
woman
level.
who did that. There was a woman. She was
What sport do you think would be the easiest? Actually, there was a poll I saw, so I think technically I know the answer, but I want to know which one you think it is.
Well, I'm trying to remember what the woman, because there was a woman who like did competitive gymnastics growing up and
Hmm.
then stopped because of an injury and then worked the Rio Olympics and was like, I want to be back at the Olympics
Hmm.
and got in with. It's not any of the shooting.
It's shooting related,
Oh, okay. It's like skeet shooting,
archery.
archery.
That was
Archery looks tough.
that was what I saw. Was if there was one you're gonna pick up latest in life and still become an Olympian, that was the one where it's like the highest chance.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Watching the shooting on TV is hilarious though because it's just a side by side of two people aiming a gun at the camera like this, and you never see what they're shooting at. You just see lights at the bottom of the screen either show up green or red. So you're basically just watching someone stand there like this, pointing a gun at.
That's why you have all those viral shots of people looking.
Yeah, they're really breaking the fourth wall with that coverage.
Yeah, you want to know who produced this? Who produced this segment? So that's definitely a choice.
Yeah.
I was telling somebody about I don't know if you watched. I saw a breakdown of the Olympic men's basketball team. Did you watch that I sent to you?
No.
Somebody was talking about the hoopla around Jason Tatum not getting playing time.
Oh.
And they were saying that it makes sense when you consider the makeup of the team, that there are like the three primary. They called it KD, LeBron, Steph, who are going to have the ball in their hands a significant amount of time. And they were like second tier that you could say is like Anthony Edwards, AD, and Bam, who like will get a few touches but still have to be efficient. And then they were like below that, like you just have to be extremely efficient with your touches and make scrap plays. And so they were like, Jason Tatum is not necessarily an efficient player when he doesn't have the ball in his hands or can't get like a feel for having the ball. And so you wouldn't expect him necessarily to fit in great in the system that they have set up there. But they were like, credit to Devin Booker, who was like pretty much the guy on the Suns, has a signature shoe, but understood like I'm going to come here, sit in the corner, make threes, and play defense, and has been like very efficient at that.
Yeah. Well, that's a consistent part of his game. Devin Booker is he's like an off the catch shooter, and I think most like true scorers aren't off the catch shooters like that. Like even Anthony Edwards, right? Like most of his points don't come off like swing, catch the ball, shoot.
He
a
likes
three.
to dance.
Yeah, exactly.
Dance
And Tatum's like that too, right? Like that's why people like the way they play is because they have they got some shit to them.
Yeah, but Tatum's not really. He's not getting a rhythm with this few touches. It seems. Well, is it that Anthony? Maybe it's Anthony Edwards' frame of mind.
I think
like,
that's what it is. Anthony Edwards is like, I don't care what role you think I have on this team. When the ball touches, the possession ends here.
Yeah, because his last game, I watched it against Puerto Rico. He had 26 on like very efficient shooting.
He was very efficient.
Yeah,
but no, I think that's mindset. I feel like Jason Tatum's not. They don't play the same way.
But when I was talking to a friend about it recently, it's funny because we were talking about TV writing. We were just kind of going back and forth about all what people around us are, what their careers look like, and how different everybody's path is. And I was saying that when I first got out here and had coffee with my former boss, she was like, yeah, you have to have a mix of delusion to think like, I am talented enough to do this thing that very few people can do, and like humility that however long it takes is just how long it takes, and I'm just gonna like fill a role, whether it's in a writer's room or whatever. But also probably that more broadly applies to life. Like you just kind of have to know you're that person regardless of what's going on around you, and then capitalize on your moment when you get it.
I think irrational confidence is the best skill. If I ever have children, that is the one thing I hope to impart to them is the most irrational sense of confidence that you can do anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean you should do everything.
Yeah.
But you can do it if you want to. I think that's anybody who's really good at what they do probably has that sense.
Yeah.
I think you have to. Otherwise you're not going to put yourself out there to do the things that like would bring you that acclaim.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I've been thinking about relative to the basketball team. Irrational confidence.
unconsciousness and consciousness in how you move. Just gotta be like, I'm gonna do this shit regardless.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd agree with that. I'm trying to think of examples of people with irrational confidence.
Your boy.
I think, yeah, myself as well to an extent. Um, yeah. So, wait, when you watch the Olympics, do you feel patriotic?
No, not really.
Yeah.
No, I don't necessarily. It's hard to, Dad has the poster in the basement of the. I'm gonna draw a blank on their names.
Tommy,
Yes,
I don't know
John
his,
Carlos
yeah.
and
Is his name Tommy? One of them?
yeah. But the poster of the two of them, and I feel like that moment is like, to me, that is probably the most patriotic I would have ever felt watching the Olympics.
Yeah.
But no, it's at the end of the day, right? It's like them going out winning all these medals does not.
Change our circumstance.
No.
That was something I kept bringing up when I was telling people. I watched the opening ceremony to see LeBron and Coco looking all cool at the front of the
Captain America.
Yeah, at the front of the boat. But I was like, when you see that sea of diverse faces, you're like, oh, this is a really good idea in theory.
Yeah.
Like it's a really good because I think I don't feel patriotic, but looking at those other very homogenous and more so the white ones, right?
Yeah.
But like in comparison, I'm like, oh, this looks cool as hell. Like
Yeah.
all these people so happy and like feeling united under this one, identity, and then the reality of it, sets in.
Yeah.
But
I had a conversation with one of my old coworkers at a previous job who he was Mexican, but he lived in Germany, and he was talking about how what he liked most about America was the sense of patriotism that people have here. And I kind of had to explain to him where I was like, I see why from the outside looking in, that's probably nice to you, like seeing people with, flags hanging in neighborhoods. And I was like, to me, I don't like that at all. I was like, it does not give me the sense of comfortability, or like it more or less just lets me know this person probably does not think how I think.
Yeah.
And probably would prefer more homogenous America than I think what'll ever exist again. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of patriotism. I like that they, people get to go out and show their skills and the things that they've worked on their whole lives, and sports create great moments. But
yeah,
I could do without it being like a America's so great kind of a moment.
Yeah, I do think rather than America, because ultimately it is, and obviously on the backs of slave labor and culturally, on out of the minds of Black people, a lot of the time, it's the people that make it great, that make it whatever.
Yeah.
Like every time, it's not the system, it's not the
institution.
The institution.
No.
And so I rewatched. Did you ever watch Incredibles 2?
I saw it in theaters.
Yeah. What do you think?
I don't know that I've watched it since I saw it in theaters.
Do you remember the storyline?
Yes, it's like the dad kind of has to become like the stay-at-home, right? Because the mom starts to become more.
She rehabilitates the image of
superheroes.
Yeah, a billionaire approaches her. He's like very into superheroes.
Yes.
And so, spoiler alert: the billionaire's sister is kind of sabotaging them along the way. She is the supervillain, and her main sort of plight with superheroes is the idea that people kind of shirk their responsibilities as citizens, with the idea that somebody will come and save them. But she's like, that's like, what if no one comes to save you?
Right.
And I've been thinking about that.
The what if no one comes to save us?
Or that no one is coming to save us.
Oh, yeah.
In part because I saw somebody who was in like local office in Alabama, and they were responding to a young person who was like probably considers themselves a progressive or left leaning. They were talking about how like this election is a sham, and we need to focus on the revolution. And I thought it was, I'd never heard it put this way, but this person is Muslim in Alabama, and they were like, first they're not submitting themselves to being a sacrifice of this revolution that this person thinks is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Because ultimately, too, it's not going to be people living in like major cities who are going to suffer first. It's going to be like, whoever in the South, but also in the Midwest. But they were saying too, like, you talk about these revolutions as if it's going to be like, you in the street toting guns, and that's all it's going to be. But she was like,
it also just can't be that, because America's too militarized for that to ever win.
Right. And she was like, if you want to look at what a revolution looks like, she was like, you should look at what the Republicans have been doing over the last several decades. She was like, they have been organizing within these systems to get a stronghold of power that the left has like proven incapable of doing. And she was largely putting it on the fact that that it's because the average person won't engage. Like, the average person on the left won't engage. And it's funny how she was like, and a great place to start, as we keep hearing though, is like local government is showing up to, town halls, whatever, showing up and like holding your representatives accountable. But I was thinking about the comparison between that and like when you're in school and professors have office hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it is so funny because like some of these schools have like one of my friends was telling me Spike Lee is a professor, I think, at NYU Film School, and my friend met his TA, and the girl was just like, nobody comes to office hours. Like, she was like really annoyed about it.
Yeah.
And then I think back on like when I was in school, and the type of person who went to office hours is like not the type of person I would want to have lunch with. But I feel like there's a correlation between that. I don't know what the correlation is, maybe, but like this idea that a certain kind of person is showing up to influence the system or get whatever information they need to influence the system.
Yeah.
And then, once we look at the system and we're like, oh, that's so fucked up. I wish it wasn't like that. And it's like,
I think it's an interesting point to say that like revolution is what the Republicans have done. I think I've talked to you about this before, but there's like the wheel and the wedge theory, where it's like if the left and the right are at polar opposites and they're like constantly tugging each other, that's how you create balance. But because the Republicans always run to the right and the Democrats are trying to just keep everything like just left of simmer,
almost, yeah.
Then everything eventually ends up moving right.
Okay.
Right, and I think that's, to me, that's more why. And it could be we're saying the same thing, but I think it's that on the left and like, or the left progressivism, whatever you want to call it, there's too many people who like the idea of it, but like, right, Law and Order Democrats or something like that, right? Where it's like they're like, oh yeah, like I'm liberal because I like people having rights, but then it's like, you don't actually like people having rights. Like, you'd like to be able to, manipulate scenarios in your best interest, but it doesn't actually like benefit the group that you're saying you're with.
Yeah.
Whereas if everything on the right is just running completely to the right, it's like they don't actually care what they're talking about. It's just like, if it's not traditional American values, then like that's not what we're here for. Whereas the left encompasses a lot more, which makes it harder to become one unified thing that everybody can run towards, right? So it's hard to get people to run towards 5 different things, as opposed to essentially, right, I guess that is the success of the Republican Party, is like they've just become reductionist now, where it's just like it's the Trump party. It's just like we're all
racist.
Yeah, essentially.
Or
like
xenophobic, or however you want to say it.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Like we're ignorant is basically what it is. But we unite in ignorance, whereas everybody else is trying to be like, oh, like I have this issue, or I have this issue, or I have this issue. And it's like those issues are all kind of intertwined, which is the part that you all don't understand if you would just run in the same direction.
And it's funny because that person who brought this idea to my attention, they were also like, their frustration and why they made the video was they were like, I'm so tired of us having the same conversations. Like, should you vote? Or that's where it started. Right. Should you vote or should you not?
Right.
And they were like, I almost wish it was like a thing where they just treated it as like something on your to-do list where you vote and then you're like, okay, now what else is there to do?
Right.
Because ultimately it's not like one action will solve all of the problems. And that's like, kind of obtuse to think that like that would be the case.
But that's what most people are.
Right.
I think that's why you have to, like, if you want, like, it's crazy to say, but I don't think you can have that successful of a revolution if it is too all encompassing.
Yeah.
Because people are just gonna be like, this doesn't serve like the specific thing that I care about enough, so they're gonna become disillusioned with it.
Yeah.
You need everybody to just be like Trump.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what else happens, Trump.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's right. That's the success of it, but it's also what makes it difficult to do it in the other direction. Because in theory, people who would be trying to go the other direction are probably thinking a little bit more holistically than that.
I feel like there's also something to like a lack of or like an unwillingness to confront problems head on. Because also if nothing else, it seems like the right, and I don't really want to talk about this that much longer, but
Yeah.
when we talk about the left moving to the center,
They're
there's
lukewarm.
they're lukewarm, and there's like we need to meet in the middle, which like in a perfect world that's necessary, but in a world where the extreme on the other side is like invalidating objective truths, you can't negotiate with that much, and like you kind of need to stand on something, and it needs to be very far on the other side.
I agree, but it just
Um,
has to be one thing that everybody unifies around.
yeah, yeah, because I mean, getting distracted with all these different petty things that don't really matter is a waste of time. Something you said kind of interested me because I was talking, the same friend that I was talking to about writers' rooms generally, I was saying that with this like alarmist rhetoric that surrounds AI as it relates to like the entertainment industry, reminds me of what has come up with us before of the way that I feel like it's often in a white Western context, people talk about the world ending and have this kind of like, I was calling it a nihilist view. Maybe that's not the exact right word,
Mm-hmm.
but like we said, where I propose like I don't think indigenous people will go when the rest of this stuff goes,
Mm-hmm.
and I just really don't agree with this whole like the world's gonna end, things are so bad without like taking action to correct any of it. I just think it's useless.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm seeing like ways that this conversation around AI and entertainment mimics that, because it's very much like AI is coming and it's stealing jobs and there's nothing we can do. And I saw, so I guess just
Is AI to writers' rooms what Mexicans are to black jobs?
exactly. Or that's what the right would have you believe. um, Mexicans to black jobs is so funny.
I'm gonna go ahead and stand on a business. I'm a tech futurist
Yeah.
and a tech extremist. For those of you who know what that is, I'm actually
Oh
not.
my-
I'm not a tech extremist.
Right.
That's a
Immediately
joke.
walks it back.
That's a joke. But I don't have an issue with AI. You know, like if the computer can take your job, it can take your job. If it can take my job, it can take my job. It is what it is.
You gotta
Like, we
make,
gotta-
you
you
gotta
gotta
make
evolve.
you gotta make yourself indispensable.
Yeah, and maybe that's a little too capitalist. I don't know.
After I said a few episodes back, that's where the billionaires failed, was not satiating the middle class and taking away the car manufacturers. I think you agreed too. Now you're like, they didn't make themselves indispensable enough. But in that conversation we were having, where I was like, I don't like the alarmist nature of the conversation. Justin Simeon, who did the movie and the show Dear White People, I guess has a new project coming out that's about the history of black representation in cinema. And he was saying that since the beginning of like white Western visual digitized media, they've been trying to write out black people. He was talking about the history of minstrelsy, like cartoons. If you look at them and you're like, why are their bodies black and like moving funny wearing servants' clothes? He's like, minstrelsy.
Yeah. It's like like in the old Bugs Bunny, they would only show from the neck down, but it was clearly meant to be a black woman.
Yeah. And so, but he talked too about how black people, like the first black superstar, I'm forgetting his name, was a minstrel character or a
Yeah.
minstrel actor. And he was saying that he would put into his sets these like little nods to black people, like jokes that only black people would understand.
Hmm.
So basically, he was saying that even in trying to disappear black people from representation, they found a way to have themselves be represented. And if you want to look at a solve for AI or what these people deem to be a concerted effort to extract them from media making, then like look at what black people have done.
Hmm.
But my thing is also, I think that a lot of people's frustration when it comes to like diverse storytelling, like they get really upset at like whoever, like Tyler Perry is the example that was coming to mind.
Okay.
They get really upset at like a Tyler Perry because he's made all this money making making Medea movies. And my thing is, who put him in a position to make 50 billion Medea movies?
Black people who watch his movies.
Black people who watch his movies, but I think also networks and studios who are like, okay, like this is what people like, but who's to say that people wouldn't like something else? Like I think to an extent, I'm more prone to being annoyed with studios and networks who pick one, two, three black people and say these are the only black stories you get.
Yeah.
And because at the end of the day, no three black stories are gonna satisfy all black people.
Yeah.
And so my friend was saying that um, he was talking about George Lucas, I guess, when he was started making films in like the 70s, 80s,
Yeah,
whenever
70s.
whenever that his idea
Maybe
was how can we, his and other people, I think he named Coppola too, but how can we take power away from these big studios,
Hmm.
using like digital methods to make movie making more accessible to us so that we don't have to rely on studios and networks. And I'm like, if the average person, instead of picking up their phone and making a TikTok, could instead use AI to make a movie,
Hmm.
then I think that there's the potential there for that to really benefit, with the help of a few other people.
I guess what I don't understand is why you need AI to make a movie, right? Like it's you. I feel like movie making has become pretty democratized at this point, right? Like what Paranormal Activity was like a huge, huge movie, and that was like I feel like I could. When I watched it the first time, I was like,
I could have made
I
that.
could have made this if I really put my mind to it.
And maybe too it's people getting trapped in a sort of echo chamber
Yeah.
of this is difficult because um and I've yet to make my own thing, so I guess stay tuned. But I think it's the time constraints, it's the equipment, having the equipment, sound editing, things like that, actually editing the film, um, that make it like exorbitant in terms of cost
Hmm.
and labor. But I guess people think that like once you have the image that you need,
Hmm.
the way that I don't 100% know how AI works,
Yeah.
but maybe it's that you can like build around like whatever image you make if it's just you as the director and however many people are acting in it, as opposed to needing like a sound guy. And
Mm.
I don't know though,
Interesting.
but I think it makes sense in any case to view it as a tool rather than
Yeah.
a boogeyman
Exactly.
that's coming to take what you've worked hard for.
I feel like that's the case with any technological investment, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
sure when the car came out, people who were like taking people around in horse and buggy were like, that car is taking my job. It's like eventually that's what happens. Yeah, technology is always evolving. I think it's yeah, I don't, maybe I'm wrong because I guess, a lot of science fiction does eventually become true,
Mhm.
but I don't see a scenario in our lifetime where like the computers suddenly take over.
And also, one thing that I've
Have you
been
seen the? Sorry, not to cut you off, but have you
going,
seen? There's a video. It's like a popular video on the internet of a guy. It's like they were introducing a new like robotic police, like a robotic neighborhood watch thing, and these two guys who
iRobot type vibe.
what they may or may not have been on drugs, but they were like interacting with it. And the guy, the guy who's like the robot's handler, is there, and he's explaining to this one guy what's going on with it. And he just punches it and starts breaking. And I think at a certain point, if we do actually feel that the computers are becoming too much, it's not that hard to turn them off.
The same issues that are plaguing the left of lacking the ability to confront a problem head on is what will save us if the robots get too strong.
Just unplug it.
Just knuckle up.
Smash the screen. Smash the hard drive. Put it in some salt water.
This feels eerily similar to people who respond to cyberbullying with just log out.
Would it be wrong of me to say I agree with that?
I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I expected you to do that. I can't say if it's right or wrong. I do think some people would say it's wrong.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta go outside and get off the screens.
Yeah.
If that's what's causing you your problems, detach, dissociate.
Cyberbullying. I don't know, its own kind of thing.
What about real life bullying? Do we need to bring that back?
I know you're a fan.
I think you could argue that is why MAGA has taken such a hold.
Well, and if you look at the reason,
not enough people were bullied, and we're like, you know what? All these things you keep saying that you heard Donald Trump say are stupid, and you need to cut it out.
Well, you know, a big part of how the left is doing well with their marketing as of late is they just started calling Trump weird. And
Look,
like they should have been doing that a long time.
Sometimes you got to be reductionist. Let's dumb it down.
That's like that is like a major comeback at this point. It's just like he's not. It's not that he's this, not that he's that. He's weird.
Yeah,
and like
Kamala is Brat.
Yeah,
or Kamala is Brat.
Kamala
is
is
weird.
Yeah, exactly. But bullying is a fine line. In that, I think the wrong people sometimes end up being bullies. I don't know. I personally don't think that people can be bullied into being better, but I think that's where we diverge maybe.
I think we do diverge there.
Yeah.
I think people can be bullied into being better. I feel like that's what a lot of sports is for young men.
For young men.
Or women. Or I'm just saying specifically, I'm thinking of my instances playing sports.
No, I'm agreeing with you for young women, for young men. I think for young women,
it's maybe not the best.
That ends up being super detrimental. And like, honestly, that's been the turn of like this gymnastics team because, well, not to make it too hot, but they were being, I don't know what the PC way of saying this on the podcast is, but the extreme of bullying in the worst way, and then they kind of reconstructed their system, and these girls these girls were like, so there's a white girl, Michaela something, who was on a former team and only ended up being on that team as like an alternate 'cause somebody had to pull out. But anyway, she's like been openly racist, and ahead of these Olympics said about these girls that they are like not hardworking and like frivolous and something else. So when they got the all-around gold, they they did their big one on her. But I think, she was advocating for, she's like, it's not as strict anymore. It's not as, people aren't working people as hard. And I think it just depends on what kind of person you are ultimately. 'Cause
also, like, when you're talented, you don't have to work as hard. Like, that is... We've seen it played out countless times in human history.
I guess, so I guess on the theme of bullying, it's like the people who need to be bullied, in my experience, are always like the bullies. And so I don't know how
bullies get bullied.
I mean, hopefully. But then hopefully they don't just turn and take that out on. It's like you need a sandwich. You need like to bully them, and then that person come back and like protect whoever is, because they happy hoes ain't hating, hating hoes ain't happy. Like, when they're treated badly, they'll just go in and take it out on some smaller person. Is my concern.
We got to look out for each other.
we all we got. Endorses bullying and then says we all we got.
Yes. If your friend who is susceptible to bullying is being bullied, it is on you as someone who has the capacity to bully to go out and bully the bully.
No, I've definitely lived that. I agree with that.
This could be workplace. This could be anywhere. It doesn't have to be exclusively.
Go up to somebody and say, "Have you been crying?"
Right.
Were you crying before this?
I'm not sure if you knew this, but no one over there likes you.
I will say, I think
I went to Loserville. Everyone knew you there.
for sure. You forgot to take your clown makeup off before you got here.
I had a funny instance happen recently with one of my friends where we were talking to someone. And this person looked at me and said, "Well, you're like the friend who like has his shit together and has a job," and then turned and looked at my friend and goes, "Well, you're the cute friend."
Oh my gosh. That's the most backhanded compliment. Oh my gosh.
I didn't know how to take it in either situation.
Yeah, wait. Were they hitting on your friend?
No.
That was just their unsolicited assessment of what was going on.
That's exactly what it was.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, I think we gotta go back to like etiquette classes or something, because people just come up to you and say the most wayward shit, and it's like, why are you starting conversations in this way?
I think some people are just it's not people aren't aware.
That's what I'm saying. Of any, like, also spatial awareness, I think, is in the toilet for a certain group of people.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like that one's been going for a while though.
Yeah.
And I think spatial awareness, but like our idea of spatial awareness is like specifically American.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of places.
But I also just mean, like, as you move your, like, I understand in other places, like, oh, we're standing in line, you don't think it's weird to be this close to me.
Right.
But I also mean, like, it once we're in close proximity, you swinging your arms freely, like, you're going to hit me if I don't move. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to start pissing me off if you do that too many times. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's specifically American so much as it is, like, have some awareness of the fact that you could hit me.
Yeah. Well, that's when, sometimes you just got to flail your arms back.
Throw them bows. Yeah, throw them bows, for real.
Kick somebody in their Achilles.
Right.
Spill a drink on them and be like, "I'm so sorry."
Right. Yeah. August, Leo season. They say it's like big things happening. Big Leo season. I still don't know anything about astrology.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it that way as long as possible. People really insist. People are persistent.
People insist on pushing their agendas onto you.
People really want you to talk about
your big three. To you.
People really want you to talk about that big three. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Right. And you would think, like, I've had Jehovah's Witnesses, come up to the door, mm-hmm. do their big one, mm-hmm. and I'll be like, you know what? I respect this, and I appreciate you for trying to spread this word to me, but this is not what my life needs at this moment. So please respect my privacy.
No hard hands.
Whereas for some reason, the astrology people don't do that. They're very like, you start talking about them, and they'll be like, you know what? I actually would rather not, and they look at you like you're the weird one.
They don't understand consent.
They don't. I don't consent to this. That's why when people ask me now, I just say I don't have one. Mm-hmm. You ask me what my sign, I don't have one. Mm-hmm. I wasn't born with one. Mm-hmm. Somebody tried to woman-splain astrology to me the other day after I said I don't have one. She was like, "No, everyone has one." I know that. I'm not trying to talk to you.
Oh, jeez. When we were at Coachella, that girl came up and asked you for help using a lighter or something, and then was like, "So what's your sign?" I was all the way over that, and then when you weren't engaging, started trying to talk to me. No, thank you. I'm here to catch a vibe and leave.
Seriously, I did not come here to watch you grind your teeth and ask me about some shit you really don't even know about. Get the fuck away from me.
I went to see. Have you seen promotions for the Nick Cage movie Longlegs?
No, but somebody told me yesterday they went to see it.
Yeah, I went to see it yesterday.
Was it good?
I don't think most horror movies are for me.
Mm.
I wasn't like particularly scared. It was a lot of like devil worship. But I will say
They hit all the old classics.
yeah, but I will say that the writer director, his father was Anthony Perkins, who was Norman Bates in
the
Psycho.
NBA player?
No, is that his name? Anthony.
I don't know. I'm
Hopkins.
thinking of Sam Perkins.
Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah,
Anthony
two
Hopkins.
different people.
My bad. The actor from Psycho. And then I went looking into that man.
Anthony Hopkins is Hannibal Lecter.
Anthony Perkins.
Oh, okay.
Child, I don't know. He has a last name. His first name's Anthony.
Sorry, I don't know this man.
Yeah, he was in the Psycho movie, but had a terribly difficult life, it seemed, on a lot of accounts. And was a gay man up until towards the end of his life. He determined he wanted to not be that. So he married a woman, right, and had a child.
That's like a reverse order of typically how that goes, isn't it?
I think either way. I think I've heard.
He like recloseted himself late at night or late in
Not
life.
late at night.
Late in life.
Late in life. Yeah, I mean, I've heard it, like people going through therapy or whatever, and
Oh.
so that's basically he started seeing a therapist and determined. Anywho,
Mm-hmm.
Married his wife. That woman was in one of the planes that was overtaken on 9/11.
Ooh.
So like just a lot of stuff going on with this man's parents. But so he said,
We might have to bleep that.
yeah, we're gonna edit that out. Pausing to make it easier. We might edit out this whole thing. Who knows? Now I'm just telling you. So anyway, so he said since becoming a father himself, he's been meditating on the lies that parents tell their kids, thinking that they're helping them grow.
Mm-hmm.
And so he like that's a theme throughout a lot of his art is like parents lying to children.
Mm.
And so that was a theme in the movie, and I could see that there. I just like wasn't that floored by it. But yeah, Nick Cage. I realize when I see him act, I just see Nick Cage doing things on screen. I don't see the character.
That's kind of how I feel about Denzel, though. But I like when Denzel does it.
Yeah, but if it's a horror movie and he looks ridiculous and he's singing "Let Me In Now,"
Is that what Nick Cage was doing?
at one point in
I might have to go see this movie later.
At one point in the movie, he's singing to the camera, "Let me in now, and it can hear now."
Singing straight into the camera.
Straight into the
yeah,
camera.
this is my kind of
It's
movie.
hilarious.
I'm gonna go check this out.
Cuckoo Bananas hilarious. So yeah, I was like, this is fine. It's entertaining. Let me
That's
know what
funny.
you think. Yeah. It was really funny though. It was really funny. Well, anyway, episode 5 in my trauma. If you like it, let somebody know. Tell them to lock in with us.
5 episodes in, still not canceled. It only gets edgier from here.